What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the bottom of the map in the blue color, playing as Set, because he is a massive abuser. Just kidding. His name is Magyar. He played Set before Set was cool. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Zeus. His name is the Mista. The map is on Midgard, and this game was played all the way back in 2013. I think it was 2013. Could be 2013. It could have been a different year, but it does exist, and it's what's happening, and I'm excited to be here. What a time to be alive. There is no better time to be alive than the present, because we are watching Age of Mythology in its finest and ultimate form. We even see the classic, out of fashion but still classic, straggler tree chopping wood on a water map. The reason why this has gone out of fashion is because you can build a storehouse at the start of the game and not have any walking time. It's really, really quite good. But Mr. Not quite aware of that one back in 2013. But right now he's too busy just kind of bathing in his winnings from Age of Empires 4 to even care about what he did back in 2013. Magyar, on the other hand, is busy bathing in his winnings from League of Legends to even consider what he was thinking back in 2013. He essentially used Age of Titans to get to a high level in video games, and then decided to take his talent where it would be more profitable. And I think arguably he made the biggest mistake of his life, because he could be in 2022 still playing the greatest game ever made. Am I right, or am I right, or am I right? I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. So the map is Midgard. The matchup is Set versus Zeus, and this is on no patch. That means that Bolt on Villages is all good. Bolt on Son of Osiris is all good. Bolt on Nidhogg, all good. Restoration, super long, super powerful, super good. Plenty Volt has no change, but Forge of Olympus, very expensive, but bigger reduction. So it's like a 60 favor technology, but with a huge, absolutely gigantic reduction in the cost of whatever you're getting from the armor. I think it's 60, maybe it's 30 still. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It's really good. And then also the biggest imbalance of them all, the Bellerophon with 5.0 speed on the 5.0 seconds, 5 seconds recharge time on his special jump. That's what Zeus has got on no patch that he doesn't have. There's some other things, but they aren't that important on no patch. Whereas Set on no patch, very expensive animals. I must say, 16 favor for a rhino. I'm not building that. So nerfed in that respect, but a huge, absolute gigantic buff in the with respect to Shifting Sands. Shifting Sands is a god power on no patch that could take not one, not two, but 3 villages and an ox cart. Now, obviously, against Zeus, it's only going to take 3 villages, but still very, very good nonetheless. Now, that all being said, this is still on the map Midgard. So the Shifting Sands might not be the choice here for Magyar. He might decide to go instead with Anubis to use those on the water, because they were decent on the water back in no patch. Kind of useless on the land, but it is what it is. We are seeing the fishing ships scouting. Holy, catch me not! Thanks so much for the prime. Now, this is also something that is a feature, not a bug, a feature of the Age of Empires development. What's it called? Development philosophy. You see it in every single Age of Empires game, without fail. Map imbalances. Now, the fans come along and they say, the developers don't know what they're doing. We're going to fix it. We're going to change your vision away from complete map imbalance. We're going to change that, and we're going to fix it. We're going to balance it. But the developers all along, they just wanted to have imbalanced maps. That's all they wanted. And we came in and said, get stuffed, we're going to fix that. Who are we to be? Who are we to fix this? Who are we to say that this 9 fishing locations to, let's just count them up here. Let's over here. Yeah. Oh no, I misclicked. I think that was something like 18, and then we got all of these. So it's 9 fishing ship spots to like 27 fishing. Who are we to say that that's not 100% how this game should be played? Everybody should feel what it feels like to have a ridiculous map on your side of the field. No? Maybe? I don't know. Anyways, we do have the stable coming up immediately here from Mista as the villagers are moving forward for Magyar. He is going through Ptah. He is throwing up a barracks in the middle of the map, so we're going to be seeing an immediate pressure coming onto his opponent as the Pharaoh wandering forward. He's got the Ring of Nibelung here. He's looking right in here to get a Shifting Sands. We see the Bolt there. Going to be able to take that Ring of Nibelung all the way back home. And the immediate Shifting Sands onto these villages has been denied, as we are also seeing an immediate second town center here from the Mista. This is something that has definitely fallen out of fashion in recent years. We have seen some raw players going for fast second town centers on water maps, but for the most part, we see that everybody realizes on water maps, generally, you want to not go doubly into economy. So that's fishing and a town center. It's too much. It's too slow. The timings hurt too much. Classical fights or just teching into the Mythic Age is too strong. But right now, the Spearmen are coming out, and Magyar is looking for blood. Spearmen against those stables. We've already got the Military Academy up here for Mista. Recognizing that maybe the Hippocon are wrong here. He hasn't actually scouted that there are Spearmen coming, but he is ready to defend nonetheless, as the Spearmen are wandering in here. And we see the Wadget going to town there onto that Minotaur, gets pushed back. And there could be villagers getting pulled here by Mista. He wants to get gets those big shots onto the animals and pick them off quickly. But now that we have the hoplites coming out, the heroes are here. The army of Magyar will all fall. I would Shifting Sands this back home and take all of those units down with me, but not what's happening here for Magyar, as his initial push has been thwarted. The armory coming up. The Pharaoh does respawn. There's no animals here right now for Magyar to gather from, so it's going to move over onto this hunt here. We do see some triremes now starting to hit some raids onto Magyar, who's going to be responding with some cabinets of his own. Just going to wait for two more before he engages this, but not paying attention to his fishing ship. It does end up falling here. Mr. on the other hand is a very healthy 2 town centers, booming hard, getting his houses up as fast as he possibly can. He does only have, 15 fishing ships right now, trying to defend over here as well as the army is coming in. You do need to get some axemen in here to take down those hoplites, but Priest Slinger is the unit composition here of choice for Magyar, and Mr. has defended it very, very nicely. This is something that I didn't actually realize that people did back in the day. I thought that no one. Well, we do see an archer range here. So again, I'll go on my little Greek versus classical fight Egyptian spiel. You don't need to build Toxotes in the classical age against a classical age set. It's not important. Just go the same thing that you would go against the Atlantean, which is Hoplite, Hippocon, and you come out in front. It's the same reason you can go Hoplite, Hippocon against Atlantean. It's because there's no good archers for the Egyptian classical fight. We do see the slingers coming in. We've got even a couple of axemen out here for Magyar. The triremes have all been pushed back here, as Magyar still trying to push in. We do see those Toxotes are out now, so now those slingers have got something to target down. And indeed, we do see some good micro here from Magyar. He was known for his micro, moving the slingers in close to snipe down those Toxotes in the back immediately. The Spearmen trying to get all the damage done onto those Hippocon. You do have to micro those axemen to be attacking the Zeus hoplites. There is the restoration here. It lasts for ages on no patch, and that's going to force Magyar back. He does still have this Shifting Sands, but not using it there. I would have loved to see him Shifting Sands as soon as that as soon as that restoration went off, Shifting Sands back into his base. But Magyar knows that he's on a bit of a timer here because Mista has been 2 town centers for a while. He's also got the big fishing advantage. He doesn't... This is another thing. Mista didn't have Persin. Like, he doesn't realize how good Persin is. Back in 2013, you thought the game was out for 10 years. He just didn't know. He's just like, why do that? Big Shifting Sands there on those units moving right into the base of Magyar. We see the hoplites going after the town center. Of Mista. Mista's hoplites going onto the town center instead of retreating away, trying to pick off some villages as the town center is getting a little bit of damage done, but now the army will be retreating away as Magyar still trying to push in. He is going to be attempting to get this town center up, and it's going to probably get up here, I guess, as the Axemen wandering in here to try and take down the hoplite in the back. But in the end, it's looking like Mista is going to be doing okay, throwing more military buildings down, as we do see more villages getting picked off over here. As the villages, as these units were shifting Sands into the base of Magyar, but in the end they will get mostly picked off. A couple of low HP units here, and they might still look for some raids and whatnot. And we are seeing some more slingers getting sniped down as the Hippocon are pushing in here. The Odysseus slinging those arrows forward as the villager does end up getting taken down there. And the villagers retreating back over here onto these deer. And the hoplite Hippocon just hanging out on this position, being a little bit annoying, but Mista is in a very, very advantageous position here. For Magyar to get any sort of an advantage here, he does have plow, he doesn't have that husbandry. He's getting it though, so he's aware. But for Magyar to get any sort of advantage, he kind of needs to get Heroic Age, and he needs to get that Ancestors. There is no ceasefire to stop the Ancestors, so he could get a potential gold starve, but there are 2 very nice gold mines here for Mista nonetheless. Now we see the Toxotes pushing in here. Magyar trying to pull back. He is on top of this food over here. Kind of important for him to get that, but has the Toxotes wander in here to deal with this Pharaoh. All the units are just happily able to sit underneath the town center. The villager is going to be getting taken out as well as they make a dart for the town center here, jumping in. The slingers in the back, getting some big damage done. Nice marker here from Magyar, jumping in and out of the town center. Back in 2013, they didn't actually have that spicy ungarrison hotkey. Maybe some people did, but there wasn't a lot of mod support or like dedicated modders here, as a couple of mercenary do pop out. These are absolute beastly units here as well, with all of that pierce and hack armor. Meanwhile, Magyar still trying to pump out his units over here, making more stuff. As he does look for a little bit of a raid on this gold mine, but the villagers retreat immediately. Going to move over onto this large gold mine instead, as the town center will end up falling. We've even got villagers brought in to the fray here to deal with this town center. And we thought Skadi was the first to do this, but no, Mista, the OG villager Ragnaroker, it seems. Take that advantage in villages and just put it in your army. Why not? You can easily take down a town center with this, as these Minotaur are going to absolute town on the classical army of Magyar here. Magyar with very little resources in the bank. Mista, on the other hand, with quite a few. He does have pickaxe, but I don't think he's got that shaft mine incoming anytime soon. And the town center does end up falling there, as Mista is able to start moving forward in this game. Now, one of the other really, really big things about Egyptian in general on No Patch was that the mercenary cavalry were incredibly strong. They trained in 1 second, I believe, and have had a ridiculous amount of armor and HP, obviously, and they would just tank for days. And that was another reason why Set was so good. So we'll see if Magyar can get to the point where he can start abusing those mercenary. A lot of the time, the Egyptian players were used to playing from behind and trying to catch back up. As we see, Dionysus is the god of choice here for Mista. He's going to attempt to utilize those Skylar on the water, which are actually buffed a little bit. I think they are 15 favor, and they train incredibly fast. I believe they cost 20 favor now. But we'll see if back in the day, if Mista realized he could attack these caribou to get those free heads, big raid coming through for Magyar right now. But Mista is a speedy boy. I'm telling you, this guy's reactions are on fire, and he is so quick, and he runs, and he's going to lose a lot of these villages to the spearmen nonetheless. The army is coming back here for Mista in order to cut these units off. Mista does have a little bit of resources in the bank in terms of the gold, getting himself this third town center as well to boot. And Magyar, one town center. He has to be thinking about Heroic Age himself, and he has clicked up through Nephthys now. Do we see the upgrade here for Magyar? He does have Persine. And has Mista gotten Persine yet? No, he has not. Big mistake there from Mista to not get that one. But he's going up to 4 town centers here. You know how I feel about this? The 4th town center. Just go Mythic Age. But here comes the Hydra. Not going to be hitting these deer or the caribou in the middle of the map to get those free heads. Very, very sad. The villagers coming over here going to want to throw down a Migdol stronghold. A bit of an interesting position for this Migdol stronghold. I'm not sure I fully understand it. He controls this choke point, but I don't know how he's going to make a push in onto this town center here. Maybe with Mythic Age timing or something. Because Mista's gone 4 town centers, he might be able to hit the Mythic Age first. But yeah, I don't know. He's got a lot of villagers doing this as well. 14 villagers building units here, and Mista's got 151 population. He's going to be looking to potentially attack that main town center here as well. Could be absolutely brutal, as now Magyar's getting himself fortified town centers. Not only that, but this town center is in range of water fire from those siege ships, as well as this town center is in range of fire, and even this town center is in range of water fire. So there is a lot of value in controlling the water here in this game. So we'll see if Magyar is going to be able to notice that. But the myth unit spam here from Mista is actually kind of real. Do we have immediate funeral rites through here for Magyar? No, we do not. He's got a lot of favor in the bank. We'll see what he's going to do. He's getting some elephants and the siege tower here ready to start pushing. He does have the ancestors to push in and deal with this town center. As we see the Scorpion Men raids coming in. Mista now, he's got his market up. He's getting his fortified town centers. He is well on the way. He does still have the bronze if he wants to use it. And there we go. Using that bronze to keep his units alive as the siege towers wandering in here. It's always funny seeing elephants getting headbutted by the Minotaur. As you see, boom, look at him go. Smack. A classic as we see another Migdol getting thrown down here by Magyar, as the town center does actually end up getting torn down here, and Mista, no real answer here for this push. The bronze is maybe going to help him stay alive. The villagers getting pulled off of the gold up here to try and prevent the Migdol stronghold from coming up. The Hydras are starting to gain heads, but they will get picked off very quickly. The elephant's still getting pushed back here. Magyar does have his own fortified town centers, it seems, but he's not able to produce the units he really needs to fight this, as Mista is able to push back very, very hard. The villagers getting pulled back off that location. They're getting sniped down by those minions as well. More units falling here. Magyar trying to hold on as best as he can. Mista still sitting very steady at 140 of 145 population. His army is very strong here in this game, but it's looking like the Migdol stronghold this time might actually potentially get up. We still don't see funeral rites here. These priests are actually really slow at picking off myth units without funeral rites, but once you get it, they're really good. There's kind of no in-between stage, but they're doing what they can here as the Migdol stronghold does end up getting up, and Mista is just going to be spamming units as best as he possibly can here. We still do not see Persine or Sultan Fora here for Mista. Still very big mistakes here, as more villagers are going to be coming in here to try and take this Migdol down. All of the shanking going on here. I'd like to see Mista on this hunt as well after he takes the Migdol down, because he's very short on that. Even with 20 villagers on food, it's just not all too much. And Magyar now trying to get out some cavalry here to deal with those Hippocon. Potentially some Prodromus are coming in, as Magyar is trying to transition into mostly a Migdol-based army, but still has to deal with those Hydra that are only going to become more and more menacing here, as we very rarely get to see Hydra seriously being created. Normally they're not very good, but in this situation, they're seemingly doing a very, very nice job. We do see some cabinet raids coming in. There is a Skylar here to defend this one here, as that's going to get dealt with. Magyar still managing to fish from all of these locations, even though we've got the Skylar out and about as well. So he's been very, very nice on that regard, nonetheless. And now still trying to defend this gold mine here. We do have double towers getting thrown up by Magyar to make sure he holds on to that. On this position, we do have the cavalry coming in, starting to slice away at these villages. And the Hydra here will end up getting picked off. No more Hydras left, but the army size of Mista still very, very big. He's not able to get this town center just yet. And Magyar is somehow pulling this game back into within reach as the fighting is going on. And there's those crazy strong mercenary cavalry. 40% hack armor, 44% pierce armor with 0 upgrades. Now, if you can think about what units seem like they have that much stats, well, you think about, well, the Huskar has 50% pierce armor, but 10% hack armor. And then what has high hack armor? The elephant? No, not really. The chariot archer kind of has relatively high, but not 40% high. So this is one of those ridiculously strong units that I'm not exactly sure what Ensemble Studios was thinking when they said, yeah, that seems about right. But probably because it ends up killing itself in the end, and it would feel like it's kind of worthless otherwise. But they got that one wrong, and we did fix it. And obviously, community knows better. So there you go. And now the units repelling in for Mista as Magyar is throwing up more Migdols, just spamming them non-stop here. He's still building villages, but only from one town center. And it's looking as if he might just get this town center up in the end of the day. He's also going to try and throw down a Migdol on this location over here, but Mista senses this. He has some sixth sense. He chucks the fortress down, denies the Migdol placement there by Magyar, as the fortress is coming up. And this would be huge if Magyar can get a gold staff here. It's very, very real. He could actually take this game. And Mista is definitely fallen behind here. We are seeing those chariot archer raids. They are not the best at all. We even see Mista getting Peltast out. And I don't know if you've ever talked to Mista in recent days about Peltast. He is on the same page as me. Do not build Peltast, but 2013 Mista, he didn't know what he was talking about. He was probably drunk on something, as we are seeing the Prodromus coming back in here, the Hippocon as well as the Hoplites coming in to take down these chariot archers. The Migdol stronghold getting thrown up as fast as he possibly can. And over here we do see these chariot archers coming in, going to attempt to take some villages down and everything else here as well. The Pharaoh hanging back, trying to keep himself alive, but getting taken down. Magyar now in a bit of a predicament. He does need to get up. Does he have full villages? He might be at full 80 villages here, but he's very much struggling on the economy nonetheless to produce full population army, which is going to allow Mista all of the advantage here. As the Toxotes retreating back, they are going to have to deal with this elephant, but that tanks for days for those chariot archers to deal the bulk of the DPS, especially those Peltas that are here as well. Meanwhile, the Migdol stronghold trying to be set up over here, still getting denied. Magyar jumping up to 152 or 160 population here. This gold mine over here of Mista has only got 200 gold left in it. So the entirety of the fight here is going to come down to this location here. If Magyar can push in and prevent Mista from mining off these two gold mines, Mista will be in a very difficult position. If Mista, however, can get to the Mythic Age, there is next to no way that Set can win in that situation here. It's kind of how that the 1.03, the no patch kind of matchup went. And it's similar to how the matchup goes nowadays as well, as the chariot archers are coming in, going to be taking down some of these villages. So they are retreating off of the gold mine here. Dead villagers left, right, and center. Nice play from Magyar, as he's managed to push Mista off this, but Hephaestus is coming in. So I guess back in the day, Hephaestus was just so good that you didn't want to go Hera. And now we get the mercenary cavalry flood in here as well. Magyar does not care. He's just like, I just want to, he's even going mercenary cavalry onto this gold mine here. He just wants to gold starve Mista as best as he can, but Mista is now starting some trade caravans, I think. You can also sell some resources if he needs to. And he is simply just waiting here. He's got a lot of idle villagers for some reason, trying to get onto this gold mine as the chariot archers are, I don't think they're showing up. Oh, there they go. They're moving now. The chariot archers get a big raid over here, and for the first time in this game, Magyar does find himself with the score lead. Somehow, some way, managing to bring this game back from the brink. Migdol Stronghold coming up on this position. We do see the elephant wandering in here. Those medium peltast are actually doing work right now, but that's just because there's no decent units there for Magyar just yet. Magyar is 158 of 160 population, moving in with his pharaoh and his villagers wanting to throw that Migdol stronghold up on this position here. But there is going to have to be a Colossus that he's going to have to deal with, as Mista does hit the Mythic Age there through Hephaestus. The Plenty Vault will be a little bit of resources for him. Nonetheless, he puts it in a very precarious position, though. Mista could very easily lose that to Magyar, I am sure, as the siege tower wandering in, going to start going out to this town center. The Heracles gets picked off very, very quickly. Is Mista aware of how broken Bellerophon is? I do not see Bellerophon trained just yet. I do not see Forge of Olympus research just yet. The Colossus coming in, going to start dealing some damage to the Migdol stronghold as the Pharaoh here going to be fighting back. Magyar's 160 population still. His trade has started. We do see the Skylar getting some damage down. I don't think we've got Mista here getting himself naval auxiliaries, so not going for the docks just yet. And in the end, it's looking like potentially this Migdol is going to stay alive. We do see the Pharaoh repair rate coming in to help out, but it's not going to be enough with only 2 villages here. And Mista's position has solidified here. Even with Magyar pushing this one with full population, he's just not going to be able to hold it. The Pharaoh somehow, some way still alive here, even after all of these javelins are being thrown in. And looks like Mista is back in control here, even after all these units are coming in. Do we have the funeral rites? We still don't have funeral rites for Magyar. He hasn't researched it. He's not aware of how good it is. As the elephant's doing their darndest over here as well. The Myrmidon slicing away at the elephant. The chariot archers are going to be wandering in here to deal with these peltasts as well. And there's that Bellerophon coming in with the 5-second jumps. Look at this. 5-second jump. Boom. Dead priest. 2 shots. 2 shots to Dead Priest, and then you can just continue to control it with that jump special if he wants to, or just leave it here jabbing away on those priests. It's completely fine. Is he eating the tree there? He is totally eating the tree. Why not eat the tree? Like, fine. Very good. We do see a little bit of raids coming through for Magyar onto the food economy of Mista. This Migdol stronghold is looking like it's going to be getting taken down as the villagers coming in to shank away. There is a lone war elephant here. Mista still at full population, still holding this position completely fine over here. The chariot archers shooting away at Bellerophon here, getting a little bit of damage done. You really shouldn't be getting any damage done to Bellerophon. If I had Bellerophon in this position right now, I would be jumping on these villages every 5 seconds. I would be killing many, many villages with this, or continuously jumping in and out of the fight here, and then be in a fantastic position. We just see these villagers still shanking away. The villagers getting pulled off by Mista. He still hasn't started. We have started a trade route now, so he's probably okay for gold for the time being, as Bellerophon does end up falling there in that position. As the villagers coming back in by Magyar. He should continue to try and mine this or get up his Migdols down over here on 0 gold, though. There is looking like there is very little gold left on the map. The trade route is started for Magyar, but he does not have coinage because, well, he's not in the Mythic Age. And not only that, 3 Colossus from Mista coming in, going to be tearing down this town center. Magyar not paying attention. Everything is coming in onto this location here. And those 3 Colossus tearing down the fortified town center is going to be absolutely devastating for Magyar. There are still 3 Migdol strongholds to push through, but these Colossus deal so much damage over there. And we do see the Pharaoh coming in, trying to empower this Migdol stronghold back up in order to put more pressure onto this gold mine to slow Mista down. But Mista here, plenty of trade, plenty of gold. He's not losing units very fast at all. He's got himself the Silver Colossus as well. And he does have that, finally have that upgrade, Forge of Olympus. So these are some cheap ass armory upgrades. We see the villagers trying to get their town center back up. One priest here trying to scratch this Silver Colossus down. Going to be here for a very, very long time as the Migdol stronghold does end up falling, and the Colossus is going to continue tearing through this. Do we have some? Yes, we finally have funeral rites. Yes, the Colossus will die fairly quickly. It still takes a while, but now we've got ourselves medium Milo coming in here to take down the buildings as well. Town center still down for Magyar. 145 of 140 population. The villagers mining this gold mine as best as they possibly can here. Obviously, to us we can tell, but maybe not so much back then. Naval lock civilians, you can put 2 or 3 population to take down this town center, or this town center is super worth it. But right now, Magyar's got a whole bunch of idle population on the water as he is currently losing everything in the middle of the map. Now the mercenary getting spammed out. Magyar's trade route not big enough really at this point to support a trade route spam. Throwing down another Migdol stronghold here as these priests sitting in the back. We do have the Colossus now going to be eating these trees to get back up to full HP. They don't automatically eat the trees back to full HP, but you know, you can shift click and do it like that. You know, those priests coming in to try and take down these Colossus as they're trying to tear down the barracks. We've also got a fortress coming down in the face of Magyar. We see a cheeky retreat away from those mercenary cavalry as they are about to fall to their lifespan dealio. You could kind of ignore these mercenary cavalry and just walk straight past them, and you would probably be fine for the most part, because actually killing them is not going to do anything, or attacking them is really not going to do anything. And now the settlement does end up falling. The Colossus gonna fall here as well, but the rest of these priests look like they might not be able to last, and it doesn't even matter. He doesn't need the Colossus anymore to tear down buildings because he's got so many Myrmidon. He's also got a fortress down on the front. Mista can get himself Heliopolis out of that. He's getting one out of this location as well for whatever reason, and in that moment Magyar does end up tapping out. Even after all the early game shenanigans with the water situation being as it was for Magyar, he still managed to make an incredible game of it here. Well, it's one of those things where it's just like, because the game was so kind of undiscovered, and we didn't know what was the best, you could overcome these map imbalances to some degree by playing really, really well. And Magyar did this in this game, but it just was not quite enough to get him back in the game in time in order to finish this game off. And a really, really nice win here for Mista, holding on beautifully. Second town center is not what I would have done. Not getting Persine is a very big mistake. Not getting Sultan Fora is also unforgivable, as well as Magyar forgetting to get that one. But that is what the olden days were about. It was all about pure chaos, and such is life. If you guys enjoyed this game and enjoyed these olden time games, let me know. I'll do some more of them. And I'll, hit a follow, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.